Welcome to the Fantasy Wizard Sports Show. I'm your host, Mike Merlin, the Fantasy Wizard, joined by Adam, or is that Lord Filkin?
There you go.
And with Sir Nickel. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Doing great. Just excited about the inaugural edition here of the Fantasy Wizard Sports Show.
There you go, episode 1.
Episode 1.
Should be a good time. We're going to learn something about fantasy football.
We're going to learn a lot, I think.
I would think we have things to learn, yes.
Yeah, every day.
Every single day we do.
Yeah, we want to win some championships, help you guys win some championships, and that's what we're here for. Brand new, just fired up at the beginning of the year. This will be, I said, episode 1 of the show. We will run through mostly football, and Adam, maybe our baseball savant.
Yes, our baseball savant. We'll get into that further as we go, like you said. Starting off with just football, but could very well branch out into other things, as we said, the Fantasy Wizard Sports, and the website is thefantasywizard.com.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
Some other social medias while you said that we'll throw out. Over on the Facebook, just Fantasy Wizard on the Facebook. Instagram is the Fantasy Sports Wizard. And setting up the Twitter/X at Fantasy Wizard. And maybe we'll even get on some YouTube, that also Fantasy Wizard. So all kinds of socials are up there. We'll get them all fired up, get some activity on pretty much all of them, I guess.
And that's the plan. As you said, we're going to go with some video. I think that's primarily where, in discussion, when we've kind of gone on past experience, starting off maybe as YouTube will probably be the primary source where this will be consumed. So we'll be putting a video up of the podcast and going from there.
Maybe some Facebook Live.
Yeah, we'll eventually
Live.
get into the Facebook Live side of things, and who knows? Who knows where it could take us?
We'll see. We'll see what kind of feedback we get. We'll get a hotline set up for everybody to get in. But contact us on our socials, and we'll see what we got for any questions and answers. This one, episode 1, will be about an early 2024 quarterback rankings, non-rookies.
Non-rookies. I like it. 24 quarterbacks are going to be judged today.
We'll do them as in 24 for the two quarterbacks, or super flex, we'll call that.
Right.
Or your one quarterback with your backup quarterback.
Which is, I certainly appreciate the super flex leagues. I've been enjoying them a lot.
Interesting, right?
That's very interesting. It's a different take. For years and years and years, in a lot of our leagues, and I think a lot of other people are doing this too, eliminating the kickers and the defenses too.
I think that's a good idea.
We'll still talk about that though here at the Fantasy Wizard Sports. So don't worry, don't fret if you're a huge fan of defense or kickers.
A little bit, no rankings zone, no rankings on kickers.
It's nearly impossible to rank kickers. You can rank defenses, I feel like, but the kickers are very tough.
Aren't kickers binary? Either on
they
or
go
off.
Yeah, it's just on or off. That's it.
There's the top half and the bottom half.
There's no in between.
That's it.
So
you just hope that the bottom half is connected to the top half so they can put it through the uprights.
So you're saying with kickers, we'll be taking no start-sit questions, or sit this one or start this one.
We will not
with your kickers.
So maybe we need to start compiling the Fantasy Wizard Sports rules.
Yes,
and that might be one of them. No starter sits for kickers.
There you go. Nice, thank you, Phil.
Build that rule book as we go.
Yeah. A couple things to throw in here, too. On the show, we'll be doing a top three. Top three sometime. Most of the time, your favorites, individual sports, whatever we come across. Maybe some once in a while, some least. That'll be an idea.
You never know. It could be anything. It could even involve food at some point, which it probably will because we like food.
Well, tailgating is part of
so it'll be the Fantasy Wizard Sports top 3 go-to tailgate foods will happen eventually.
There you go. That'll be plenty of time through the offseason. We'll add it. We got lots of time to throw that in there. Good ideas, though. Come up with as many as possible.
Yep.
So we don't run out of those. Today's top 3 will be greatest champions. Greatest champions individual. Not individual sport, but individual on a team.
Right.
Or match or whatever.
Or even individuals. One of the guys I have is Olympic gold medalist. Actually, 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just the greatest when the match or whatever game is on the line.
To win a championship.
Who's coming out with it. Yeah. Who's coming out on top. So looking at, as we run down, we will go with news and notes to start things off.
All right.
news and notes from around the NFL.
Dun, dun, dun.
Beginning with some big-time free agency coming about. Mike Evans from the Buccaneers, 5-time Pro Bowl Mike Evans. He has reached a 2-year, $52 million. Nice. Good time for this to go right out.
So Mike Evans, for the Buccaneers, re-signed, as you said, for 2 years, which, if I'm not mistaken, he's just had a bundle of touchdowns the last, 4 or 5 years for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it should be Touchdown Tommy should be his name. But
it seems like he's one of the only players that scores touchdowns for the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Consistently.
A lot. I mean, he did. One thing he's got going is 10 years now of 1,000 yards.
That's the key, right? That's wild?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oldest guy to get that kind of deal. Gilmore said about the Evans deal.
Yeah.
That was 26 per year, 26 million.
Oh, 26 per year. I thought it was 26 total.
Wow.
Nope, 35 million guaranteed, 52. That includes the 35 guaranteed. Big deal for the old guy, but you said 10 years, $1,000 yards per year.
He can afford to hire us.
You got to pay the man, and it seems like they want him to finish his career possibly with the Buccaneers, and of course. In my mind, if he keeps up this pace, if he makes that to 11 or 12 with 1,000-yard seasons, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He's already at with 10.
Yeah, 10, he's already there. You feel like?
Oh, yeah. Now that doesn't get done. That's a rare event.
Rarefied air.
Yeah, even the great Megatron did not do that. Kevin.
He didn't even play 10 seasons, though.
There you go.
I still can't believe he made it to. I can believe he made it to the Hall of Fame for what I saw of him playing. But yeah, with only 9 seasons under his belt, that was kind of unique for him to make it to the Hall of Fame. But anyway, it is a sports podcast.
I like it though. You got good talk.
Yeah.
He made it because he was so dominant in those 9 years.
He was too.
For
If
sure.
you saw him, I saw him live a couple times, and
ridiculous.
he's one of those athletes that you pair with that I've seen live that you just notice, and they stick out, and you cannot not see them. Mm-hmm. One of them that comes to mind is Ichiro in baseball.
Yes, sir.
Bo Jackson in baseball too. Mm-hmm. Saw them both play. And your eyes go directly to them because they just stick out there. LeBron James too. Whenever I've seen basketball live,
that's amazing. They stick out amongst the best.
They do.
The absolute best around.
You just can see it immediately. And Megatron was like that too.
Mm-hmm. A couple of players that are not being tagged though. Chris Jones, a defensive player for the Kansas City Chiefs. Christian Wilkinson from the Dolphins. Big running back from the Giants. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, another running back. Michael Onwuana. He is not going to be tagged. Baker Mayfield, Calvin Ridley, and Xavier McKinney. A few of the names that are not being tagged.
So the biggest free agents I had to think there. Which one? Do any of those surprise you?
Not this year. Not when, especially the running backs had a hard time. Saquon and Josh Jacobs both hardly had a deal.
Well, in the league's really shifting, and I think this is the drumbeat I'm going to have always is. Running back is a young man's game, and a lot of it's just plug and play anymore. Teams feel like you can just draft somebody, and once they have anywhere between 5 to 7 seasons, really it only goes one of two ways. They either go drastically downhill or they maintain, but way more go drastically downhill than maintain after about 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, in just a few years, how many people have fallen out there and not even in the fantasy game anymore?
Right.
Well, I mean, running backs take a beating. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That has got to be, other than I think offensive line, running backs just take a tremendous beating out there. So their longevity is not what it used to be.
Yeah, 300 carries and catches together usually. Some big dog names, 400 in a season. That's a lot.
Not to mention, if you're out there on passing downs, you're blocking too sometimes, pass blocking. And when you see a 220-pound running back trying to block a defensive edge rusher that weighs 270 pounds and just pure muscle out there.
Yeah, it's not trying to block them so much as it is just slow them down.
Just slow them down, absolutely.
Just slow them down.
Good times. Not getting paid, though.
Right.
Good times not to get paid. So we will see, a couple of them change of pace. I guess we'll do them good. That's the old saying for the running backs especially.
Any speculation on where some of these guys will go, or haven't we gotten that far yet? We'll probably get that far here. Well, we'll know more,
in just
next week free agency opens up, right?
It does. Yeah, new league year starts on the Tuesday
or Wednesday, I believe.
Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Of next week. So next week everything gets rolling. Yeah, questions will be answered quickly.
Some of these big names are going to get snatched up. I mean, Saquon Barkley's going to go somewhere. I feel like he still has gas in the tank.
Yeah, he might be in for a little couple year resurgence if he gets somewhere where, just that getting him with new trainers, doing new things, and get that late career resurgence for a couple of years. And
I
kind of feel like that he's in for that.
It's tough for some of those guys like a Saquon Barkley because, in my mind, he was with the Giants when they were absolutely terrible.
Oh, yes.
And that really wears on a player's psyche when you're a great player, because Saquon Barkley, don't mince any words, he's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to be on a terrible team and have to go out there.
He was their everything.
And it was tough. So, like you said, he's one of the guys, and that's the point I think you were going to make, and I agree, is a change of scenery will do him awesome. I think he's on my list of guys, and I've never drafted him before, and I've always stayed away.
And it's a good time.
I've always stayed away. I've never drafted Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
This season he's on my list because of that resurgence. I don't care where he goes to. It's not going to matter.
It is a big year for big names, especially in the running back spot. We didn't mention Derrick Henry moving on.
Yeah,
more than likely.
Derrick Henry, he's another one.
Austin Eckler.
Eckler.
Moving on.
Eckler's a touchdown machine, let me tell you what. But as far as Derrick Henry, he's going to come out with a chip on his shoulder because Tennessee, in my mind, has done him dirty because he's still in peak physical form. And he went out there and they've just kind of dwindled him off the past couple of years.
Yeah. They have to keep paying him.
Yep.
Pay him that big money now. And they said, no way, because you said it at the start. Running backs in the end.
Because he is an absolute beast. Like, he's the last guy I'd ever want to have to try to tackle in the NFL.
Right.
All right, what else do we have here?
All right, we got some more stuff for you. We can see if we jump right into that list.
We can do that.
Let's go first, though. Today's top three.
Top three, okay.
All right, and everybody's top three said greatest champions of all time. And let me grab my pen and paper.
You got it.
We're going to take down some notes.
All right.
Phil, let's start with you. Your number three.
So my number three champion, this is going way back, but one guy that always bounces around in my brain, and this is kind of a throwback to my grandparents always talked about it because my grandfather was a huge sports fan, Jim Thorpe.
Jim Thorpe, that goes way back.
Jim Thorpe. We're talking about Olympic gold medalist in the decathlon and pentathlon in 1912. Won golds. And those events have multiple events. So for him to be gold is crazy.
Yeah.
He had a baseball career, professional baseball, played from 1913 to 1919. And he had a football career from 1915 to 1928. So three sports
professional.
he excelled in. And at the time, too, he faced a lot of backlash for racism because he was Native American.
Yes, sir.
So Jim Thorpe, one of my champion of champions, because he's one of those athletes that everybody that ever saw him never forgot it.
Yeah, and hard to argue that one. I mean, holy cow, what a resume. I mean, he was prime time before there was prime time.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what they said. Like, all the notes are like he was the modern day comparison that doesn't even compare would be a Bo Jackson or a Deion Sanders.
Yeah, well, neither one of those guys were Olympic gold medalists.
Right, and two events that have a bunch of events.
And let's face it, by the early 1900s, the Olympics were fairly well established.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a new thing where there's a bunch of newbies coming in.
Well, and that's it. They said that a couple of the events that he did in the decathlon and the pentathlon, he actually held the Olympic records, some of them as deep as to the 1960s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez, oh Pete's with shoes that were just leather wrapped around your foot.
Right?
It's still
That's 100% accurate. Yeah. So that's my number three.
All right, Adam, you're number three.
So my number three, can't go wrong with this guy. I mean, he was clutch back in the day. In the 1980s, I don't know that there was anybody better in football than Joe Montana.
Oh,
love it, man. Joe Montana is a winner.
Well, he was so cool out there. I mean, obviously Joe Cool, but to watch him play, nothing ever shook him. They could be down, they could be up. He was going to play the same out there. He was just the absolute picture of efficiency and of calm. So I mean, if you had a championship on the line, there was nobody you wanted in your corner more than Joe Montana.
Yeah, he never lost one, did he?
No.
Four wins.
Yep.
And never lost one, and just some of them were close. Some of them were just, I mean, I remember when they laid waste to the Bengals that one year. It was just kind of hard to watch, but Joe Montana just went out there and did Joe Montana things, yeah.
There you go.
What a champion. I like that one.
Yeah, I guess it does help having that wide receiver.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, a little guy named Jerry Rice to throw to. And
that helped.
Jerry easily...
He had a white guy too. I don't remember who that was.
Yeah. If we do top wide receivers ever, of course, Jerry Rice is going to be in that discussion when we do top 3 wide receivers ever.
He would be right there. Oh yeah, on somebody's list, of course.
Oh yeah.
Good pull on that, guys. My number 3, and I put him at the bottom because he's not a nice guy personally. Not a nice guy at all personally, but we're talking on the field of play. My number 3, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods in his prime, now trying to come back, is not working at all.
So it's isn't it? It's astounding the drop off that he's had. And I know he's faced injuries like with his back and everything like that.
Yep.
But typically
his
these guys,
pocketbook, I mean,
yeah, typically these guys still play at a high level, even when they retire. Like, I mean, look at even like John Daly's out there still hitting golf balls a mile
with a stogie in his mouth.
Right, doing a shot of vodka before he tees off on
Yeah.
Good old lefty.
Yeah. Mickelson's still tearing it up. But Tiger Woods, what a fall from grace. He was on top of the world. The thing that bothers me about Tiger Woods, besides the adultery, is the fact that he's notoriously cheap. Like when he would go to restaurants and stuff like that, the guy's he's a billionaire. He's got to be a billionaire.
Yes.
And the various waitresses are like, yeah, his tab was $111. He left $9 for a tip.
Wow.
Well, he might not be a billionaire after the divorce and all that.
But what a champion, though. Yeah. What a champion. He's won so many majors. Every golf tournament you can think of, back in the day, he was going to win.
Yeah, the favorite to win every time.
He brought golf to a whole different level as far as for spectators, for the fantasy world. Hell, I played in the highlight of his career. I was playing fantasy golf because I really enjoyed watching golf.
Not only fantasy golf, but he also opened it up to different races of people, honestly, too.
Yep.
And I don't want to pull the race card, but it made it a lot more interesting for a larger group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But better than to expand the exposure.
Yep.
So a couple things that Tiger has won: 5 Masters, 3 U.S. Opens, 4 PGA Championships. Just to name a few. Go on and on and on, but there is a lot. He won all the time.
Just dominant. He was just dominant back in the day, too.
My nephew did meet him at Flint at the golf course there in Grand Blanc, and got his autograph and got a picture with him, and I guess he was very nice. Of course, they didn't ask him for any money, so.
Not going to ask you for any money here, Tiger. I heard you're a little cheap, but can I have an autograph?
Yeah, how about a picture?
Well, at his event, that was the Buick event.
Yep.
Yeah, the Buick.
The Buick Open is what it used to be. Yeah,
of course he's nice there. That's his.
Because Buick was one of his huge spots. Buick probably accounted for about a quarter of that $1 billion that he has.
100%.
Well, they're not around anymore either.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Your top 3 so far. Your 3 out of the top 3.
All our number 3s.
There you go. We'll flip on over to topic for today is going to be, again, the early 2024 quarterback rankings. No rookies.
No rookies.
We'll start right at the top, as we should. And this list was going off mine. You guys can add or subtract as you like.
Okay.
First one, Josh Allen. Hard to argue that one. He has been in the top player pretty much every year that he's been in.
So he's your number 1.
He's number 1 overall always.
You're starting. The only thing I don't like about Josh Allen is the amount of turnovers. That's it.
Huh? He did have 18 interceptions, so a lot.
Yes.
He did have 15 touchdowns on the ground and 29 through the air, so that makes up for that. But you are right.
He is high. He is high risk and high reward. I've had him in leagues, and I agree. I'd draft him all day again. But he's also known for that. He'll come out and lay you a stinker. So watch out. He had a couple games last year where he had maybe 1 touchdown, but also 3 interceptions. So
for sure. It seems like a lot more popping games than those dumper games, for sure.
Yeah.
He averaged 24.2 fantasy points a game, finished with 410 fantasy points. To give you perspective, number 2, Jalen Hurts, was 371. So 40 more points.
I like what Jalen Hurts does, but I have a hard time trusting him because it seems like that Eagles offense is either they rely heavily on the running game or it's feast or famine. I always felt with Jalen Hurts for games.
He's got talent. We'll be coming up to him soon.
Yeah.
So it started, as we said, started off with Josh Allen.
Yep.
I don't have Jalen Hurts as number 2.
Who do you have as number 2?
I have Patrick Mahomes looking for rebound.
I don't know, man. I'm souring on Mahomes. I'm not going to lie to you. He wins, but his stats, he doesn't put. His wide receiver core was just dreadful last season. Let's face it.
And he still won a championship.
They were dropping passes left and right.
Yeah, if he didn't have
tough
Kelsey,
to watch from a fantasy football standpoint.
If he didn't have Kelsey, they go nowhere.
But sheer talent wise and as a winner, sure, I'll agree with him at number 2. But I had him last year in 2 of my leagues, and it was
a down year.
Yeah.
So would you expect a rebound then, or a continued down year?
I'm going to continue the trend of the same.
Really?
I think he's going to have some games where he's really good for you. The thing I don't like about the modern NFL, especially, is playing fantasy football. It's tough because you'll have some of these teams that'll face each other, and I'm looking at you, Dolphins, where the score will be ridiculous. It'll be like 42 to 30, 35, and everybody's just whooping your butt in fantasy football. And then the guys you have are participating in games that end up 17 to 6,
Yeah. Oh, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
One week's a good.
And I feel like the Chiefs were that team last year. They won, but they won a lot of games ugly.
Well, Phil, you did say that he had a bunch of drop passes by his receivers, nobody receivers, a rookie wide receiver. So wouldn't you say coming into another year of that receiver that was good for him? Maybe in the offseason moves? So
I think some offseason moves will help him. I've been reading a lot of stuff that says some of these big free agent wide receivers are definitely some of their projected landing spots are with Kansas City.
Yeah.
So if he can do that, but he had Scanlon come in for him last year, Valdez Scanlon, and he didn't impress me.
Yeah, he's got released.
Yeah, he was a world beater for a while there, and then he came into the Chiefs, and you can't tell me that it has to do with Mahomes throwing the football because he throws a good, clean football.
Or it probably fell off. Maybe he just fell off that quick.
Yeah, could be. I mean, the biggest weapons for Mahomes are Pacheco as running back, and of course Gonzalez at tight end. So, or not his wide receivers garbage.
Kelsey, not Gonzalez.
Or sorry, Kelsey.
There you go. I say so. Definitely, you say not at number 2 for Mahomes.
It's
okay.
Top 5 and not number 2 to me.
Okay, top 5, not number 2.
Yeah, I don't have Mahomes near that high either.
Okay. Do you have him top 5, or where are you at?
I do not have him top 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, he finished 8, so you're going to give him top 10 at least. And we're doing more detail on the top guys as we work farther to the bottom.
Yeah, well, we won't. Yes.
Do you have him as top 10 at least? This would be finishing on the season since we're doing early rankings.
This will be projected for this season.
Correct.
I have him in the top 5, but not number 2.
Okay.
I'll still draft him. Don't get me wrong.
If he's there.
If he's there. He's already won me 3 ships, so.
My number 3, Jalen Hurts.
I agree with that. That's a great spot for him.
All right. He finished second this year to Josh Allen. 21.9 points per game average, 371 total, as we mentioned. Another quarterback, only 2 with 15 rushing touchdowns, him and Josh Allen. And I want to make that point again even more. The rushing touchdown advantage for your quarterback. Do you take quarterbacks early?
Oh, yeah. If they can rush for touchdowns, yeah.
15 touchdowns?
Oh, that's such a bonus. It's such an added bonus.
So they had 15 rushing touchdowns each for both of them. How many running backs scored 15 rushing touchdowns last year?
So we cheated because we talked about this pre-show, but one. Just one.
Raheem Mostert with 18 last year. CMC, Christian McCaffrey had 14.
Seemed like he had a ton of rushing touchdowns, but just 14. Although CMC did have, 20 touchdowns on the season because he had receiving touchdowns, too.
He did. Yeah, I think he had
But we're talking purely about rushing touchdowns here.
To show you the advantage of those top quarterbacks, meaning Allen and Hurts. So you had one running back with more rushing touchdowns. Your second and third rushing leaders of the NFL were quarterbacks.
Right.
Is my point.
For scoring touchdowns.
Let's jump back one more year prior to that. 2022, there was just one. Jamal Williams was 17 rushing touchdowns.
The dog for the Lions.
Yeah, not much. So, yeah, when you have an advantage like that with your quarterback, take him early.
Oh, yeah.
Take him early.
Yeah.
You're getting a running back and a quarterback all in one. So you're getting bonus points for those rushing touchdowns. Plus, if you're like me, I like it when my quarterback scores rushing touchdowns because then I don't have to worry about playing against one of his wide receivers because I always look over on the other team. And the wide receiver he threw the touchdown to has got it, and I'm like, son of a...
Well, let's pull this out then. While we're mentioning that with a rushing quarterback as is, or that dominant, because the next guy up will be Lamar Jackson.
I've had Lamar Jackson numerous times too.
It's hard to take the running back.
Yeah.
It's tough with the running back because there is no touchdowns. There's very little.
So it is very tough. So typically from those teams with Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson, and with Jalen Hurts, I would never touch any of their running backs. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. It's all on their wide receivers and that quarterback.
Because you look at their running backs, they might have a ton of yards, but they're only going to score maybe 6 to 8 touchdowns tops for the season if they're lucky.
Especially with a good offense.
Yep.
My 2 championships last year, the quarterbacks for them, 2 teams, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, and Josh Allen, excuse me.
Yep.
There you go. Took home some championships with those 2 quarterbacks.
So I've won championships over the last 3 years with Lamar. All our top 4. Actually, your top 4. I've had them all.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go. I'll jump right in. Number 4, we said at Lamar Jackson. That's where he finished this past year. So I guess I got him right at the same projection.
I'm perfect with him at 4.
It would be 21 points, 21.1 to be exact, 338.2 total for Lamar Jackson. He did have himself for rushing touchdowns, not much, but what do I have here? 5.
He doesn't run nearly as much as he used to.
Not like he used to.
He's still throwing the ball, but his wide receiver core last year kind of scared me. So if they can upgrade that for this season, but I think number 4, just on pure athleticism, putting him at number 4 is accurate.
And we'll go then to number 5. Now, this one might surprise you because he was a rookie last year. Got hurt early on. I seen him. I drafted him. He was all over the place. Anthony Richardson from the Colts.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that one does surprise me.
That one surprises me, but I saw good numbers when he did play.
Yeah, he was...
I don't have a good frame of reference with him.
It was so early on. I only knew it because I had him on my teams. He was actually one of my starting quarterbacks.
Right.
And he is a big dude, 6'4", 240.
Huh.
Big guy. Arm like a cannon. And can rush. And that was why his problem was he was running the ball a lot as a quarterback. And he got hurt. That's his shoulder injury.
Okay.
So we got the repair done. He's working, getting repaired, and ready to go.
So I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent about this ranking. I'm going to take your word for it on this. These are the rankings we think for the coming season. By the way, just to let everybody know.
Yep, upcoming season. And another one. Then back to back, 5 and 6 are injured quarterbacks. Number 6, you guys are familiar with, Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow, I'd put him right there all day long when he's healthy, especially with his wide receivers. Joe Burrow's money.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Burrow, actually with 6 here, he may move up in my rankings as we get towards the season. It looks like the Bengals will be tagging
T. Higgins.
Yeah. So bring back T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And
Jamar Chase is such a beast.
Yeah. So a really good spot. He finished quite low. I'd have to look down for him. He didn't play much games. Started off with a calf injury and then later on hurt his wrist or
finger. Yeah, hit it on a helmet or something.
Yeah, not good, but should have a good bounce back again after the injury. I'll throw something out then. One of his wide receivers, Jamar Chase, my go-to guy. I've had him all 3 years in the league since he's been, and 2 of the 3 years I've won a championship with him on my team. So my guy, Jamar Chase.
I've had him on twice, and he's one championship team. So Jamar's definitely the only thing. He's special, absolutely. But when he's on, he's a big game receiver.
Yeah, he is, and he's on more often than he's off.
He really is.
We'll get that to another one. That's wide receivers. Should be episode number 3. Just a little preview for the future.
Can't wait for that one.
There you go. Next week would be running backs. And we're going to do, bringing up that list again. How about number 7? Lucky number 7, rookie last year, C.J. Stroud.
I like C.J. Stroud.
I wondered when you were going to get to him.
He's going to be my dark horse. I had him. I was thankful enough to pick him up in our Dynasty League, and I'm not going to regret it.
Not at all.
And he's going to be on my radar in our fantasy leagues this season, standard drafts. He
went mostly undrafted last year. I remember he was on the waiver in one of my other leagues. Wow. What a pickup.
He's an animal. He's Great athlete. He sees the field well. He's mature beyond his years at quarterback, and
Special dude.
Yeah, very special. He's actually on my list of guys that I would grab early, honestly, in Superflex leagues and everything.
Yeah.
He's got so much upside.
He does. So 7 might be a little too low for the guy.
I was thinking that, but
I would put him up there, in my opinion, maybe 4.
I had him at 5.
Shuffle those guys back, put Mahomes at 5, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. This is how we play this out. As we get later on in the season, we'll see how the draft goes, who goes where, and what happens, and adjust our rankings still.
We should, absolutely.
It's so early on that we're not even factoring any rookie draft.
Right.
Or any free agency moves.
So what I would like to do, my vision, especially when we get going on video here, this is kind of production meeting out loud just for a second. I won't bore you guys. We should make boards and just have the list and shift them around as things happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
An actual physical board?
yeah.
Okay.
With the names
Or
shift them around.
we'll have displays at our leisure as well.
Yeah.
For use.
Nice.
That way we can talk about, hey, we need to revisit something if
They
signings
move.
happen or injuries happen or anything else. So
Yeah, they move quickly.
let's continue with the quarterback list.
All right. On after CJ Stroud will be number 8, Dak Prescott. It makes me nervous. Dak finished this year number 3 with a strong second half.
Whoa, super strong second half.
He had 20.7 was his average per game, 352 total points. Just throwing that out there. He did finish with 4,516 yards passing. Big monster year. But again, that was all second half. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with him anymore. That was number 8 for you on Dak Prescott.
I don't think 8's a bad spot for him.
No, it's not a bad spot. I still would take him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't take him as your primary quarterback. I'm going to tell everybody that right now.
So you'd be moving him out of the top 12 then?
That's
how that works.
Yes.
So out of the top 12. Okay.
Yeah.
I like to see how the rankings shape up as we move on. I guess I put him at the 8 because of the strong finish in the second half.
Well, that's actually where I had him too on my list.
Fine, at 8.
Yeah.
He did win my wife her dynasty championship, her back-to-back dynasty championship. Just throwing that out there.
Right.
So she's a fan of Dak Prescott.
I'm not a fan.
Not a
but
fan.
Yeah, I don't like anybody that plays for Dallas.
How
But
about them Cowboys?
Okay.
But, he did have a good season, especially in the second half. And, he'd be my primary quarterback if I didn't have anybody better. If I'm drafting late and everybody else is gone above him, I'm
picking him up.
I'm going to pick him up.
Well, Phil said that he would have him as his super flex, but not as QB1.
Not if it's a single. Not if you're starting one non-super flex, starting one quarterback.
Right.
No.
I think you're not that far off.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yep. Jump right over to number 9, Justin Fields. An absolute talent.
On a terrible team.
Yep. And
Yes.
the Bears right now, let's say that. The Bears right now, because we don't know, again, what's going on in the future. This ranking could change pretty quickly because he is on a lot of trade rumors.
A lot of trade rumors, and honestly, if that comes to fruition and he doesn't stick with the Bears, I'd leave him at 9. But if he's going to be with the Bears, that organization's a train wreck from the top to bottom, from coaching to management to everything. If he stays with the Bears, I'm going to move him out of this and probably put him somewhere in the mid to high teens if he stays with the Bears. But if he gets a new team, I'd put him right there.
Are you going to put him with the kickers?
Yeah, he can be with the Kickers.
He finished 18 last year with injuries. He only did 13 games.
There's no doubt he's a talent. He is such a talent. But
Yeah. But again, when you have nothing around you, it's not hard for a defense to figure out who they got to stop, and they'll do it. There's just not a whole lot else that they got to defend on that offense.
very true.
DJ Moore was a huge addition for him this past season.
But also, that's the only person he threw the ball to, it seemed like.
Yeah, and defenses would know that.
Because I remember this very distinctly because I was playing someone that had DJ Moore. And I said, well, that offense is horrible for the Bears. And next thing you know, DJ Moore comes out and has, I believe, 2 or 3 touchdowns and about 180 yards.
That huge game.
Yeah.
That 40 points or something.
Yeah.
That's something we got to visit to in the future as we do shows, those big outlier games. Those are always fun. Going right to top 10. Inside the top 10, Kyler Murray. What do you think about that guy? Kyler Murray. He was injured.
He and
a lot
Justin
of the
Fields
season.
are almost carbon copies of each other and also the situations. The Arizona team's still dreadful. terribly coached, terribly managed.
Right.
Same
Improving,
deal. But a great talent, but an amazing talent.
Okay. I said I had him at 10. I guess that's a good spot for him. That would still make him quarterback 1.
Yeah, I would do it. If all those other guys before him on the list are gone, I'd pull the trigger on that.
I want to watch if he stays at 10 or if he moves around a little bit. A lot of mock drafts for the real NFL draft has Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the Cardinals as a wide receiver.
Oh,
and
tell me more.
Take him to the moon.
That's true. Okay. That's true.
So let's keep an eye on Kyler Murray and where he moves around in rankings. Number 11 came out of nowhere, surprised everybody. Jordan Love. Jordan Love finished 5 last year, number 5 at 19.4 average, 330 total points.
Sure. Yes.
And I'd have him at 11.
Yeah, that's a good spot for him.
That was a surprise last year?
Definitely a surprise.
With a young team. One of the young
It was kind of a crapshoot. I remember people drafting him and me thinking to myself, ooh, that's way too early to take Jordan Love. Like, when you've got other quarterbacks, big names
right
that we're about to discuss here. Mm-hmm. But for this season, I mean, if past performance is any indicator of future,
right,
he's got a high ceiling, so 11's not a bad spot for him.
There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent around him all of a sudden.
Right.
I had Jaden Reed, one of his wide receivers, rookie wide receivers, on my dynasty team, and he is checking out pretty good. Looking quickly here, Jordan Love, 4,159 yards, over 4,000 passing yards.
What? That's insane. I guess I did not realize that.
Mm-hmm.
I had him at number 13 on my list.
13. Yeah, not bad. That's right in that spot. Well, number 12 then. Let's see number 12. This is going to be the cutoff line for QB1.
Okay.
Jared Goff.
I was just going to say, you have to have Jared Goff here.
Jared Goff. Yeah.
I'd even put Goff would honestly, for me, be anywhere between probably 9 or 10 to me.
9 or 10? He finished at 7 last year.
And it'll be interesting to see what the Lions do with free agency if they pick up another wide receiver, because they almost feel like they need one more piece.
They should.
At wide receiver.
I'm going to paraphrase Dan Campbell's interview recently. He was asked about Jameson Williams. He said he's going to start working to be in that starting lineup. Something about, I'm paraphrasing that. And it's a really weird comment.
Right.
For a wide receiver in year 3.
You wonder what's going on there, because there seems to be a lot of weirdly veiled things with him.
About that dude.
This is really his rookie year.
This is. Essentially, I feel the same way.
You know,
this is Jameson Williams' make or break year, 100%.
If he doesn't get hurt or get suspended.
This past year was basically his rookie year, and you know, there's a lot of upside to the guy because he's got so much speed and he's so athletic, but at times it's like
he looks lost out there.
Yeah,
he looks lost out there.
Just doesn't totally get it.
Well, volume is everything, and he doesn't get no volume.
That's 100% accurate too. No volume, but he also has to gain the trust of Goff first too.
Mm-hmm. Right,
he really does.
You have to reali's that.
Yep. I just don't get it. That's why I had Jared Goff at number 12.
Right. I'll agree.
I just don't.
I'll agree. He's still a great option and viable for you to be your number 1 starter.
They have such a good rushing game. I guess throw that out there with Jared Goff. There's such a good rushing game. It's going to take away from him.
Well,
he
yeah, for sure.
All the time, especially touchdowns.
And you know, we'll see if they end up keeping that all together through the whole offseason, because that could drastically change, you know, his value.
As far as keeping both those running backs?
Yeah.
They should. The Montgomery still, I believe, has another year on the contract, so he's all set and ready to roll.
Yeah, there's been rumors in some of the shows that I listen to that there's been rumors that
they could trade?
Yeah, that there might be some movement there.
Oh. Wheels up for Gibbs then, huh? Montgomery leaves, you're talking,
the talk would be Montgomery.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, hey.
I mean, let's face it.
He's valuable.
He's valuable, but for a running back, he's getting up there in years.
Sure is, and that matters. That was the top of the show that we talked about. That matters big time. In the future, we'll get along those ages, the ages for running backs versus quarterbacks versus wide receivers versus tight end.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
All right, what do we got? So now we're cracking out of the top 12. These are going to be your kind of second-tier guys that you're going to have either as backups or in a super flex league. These guys would be sufficient as your second quarterback.
Before we jump into the bottom half of that, you said quarterback 2 or your super flex. Let's do number 2 on your today's top 3.
All right, so I guess if we do the same order as last time.
Yes, sir.
My number 2 is Michael Phelps. 28 medals during his swimming career. 23 of those were gold. Total of 27 gold medals in the World Championships. So what? 55 total total medals.
55.
55 total medals between the Olympics and World Championships. So he just dominated everything. He's a champion. He's a champion through and through. Michael Phelps, swimmer, champion in my brain, number 2 on my list.
When the swim meet,
Yeah.
was on the line, he was going to be the one to
He's
win.
the guy you were going to send out there, and
Okay.
he just dominated, though. Remember, there was never a doubt.
He for sure did. And, any sport that you're that dominant in at that level is pretty damn amazing. I mean, the guy knew some trick. I don't know what they laced his pot with or whatever, but that he used to win all that. But
I
holy
have
cow.
no problem with that. Plus,
I don't
let's face it, it's near and dear and to my heart is he was kind of a goofy looking dude too. Not your normal. Most of these guys in this champions list were also quite attractive, and Michael Phelps looked like your every man
At all.
Yeah.
Big dude, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gangly. And arms, I mean, they were ridiculously long.
Yeah,
Just freakishly long, like knuckle dragger.
yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Plus, the guy got to eat like 10,000 calories a day,
Yeah, which I also appreciate.
which I also do too. But
I do that without the work ethic.
right,
Oh,
exactly.
Imagine that. That swimming is that good for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
So that's my number 2 guy.
There you go. Nice job on your number 2. Adam, number 2?
Number 2 on my list, if you had to win a championship, would be Irvin Magic Johnson.
There's no doubt about that.
Magic Johnson.
He just all the way around. And in what most people would say is the golden era of the NBA, the feud with Bird. And, I mean, he would be a close second there. And then, of course, Jordan's got to be at the top of that list, but we kind of had that discussion that
We did. He's
It's
on
almost-
everybody's list.
he's on everybody's list. But
So when we give our number ones, don't think that we haven't thought about Jordan. We're trying to think outside the box and present you other people here. But Magic Johnson won at every single level of basketball he ever played. Won a
did.
championship.
And against just some phenomenal competition. I mean, he beat some of the greats.
There wouldn't be Showtime without Magic.
Oh,
Showtime.
no.
No,
It was a Lakers Showtime.
no, and like I say, the feuds with the rivalries with Bird and Jordan and just
Legendary. Isaiah
And then-
Thomas even.
the dream team. I mean, just
That Olympics.
yeah. I mean, another Olympic champion. And they were so dominant, and he was definitely a leader on that team.
He was the straw that stirred the drink. I love that his rookie season, which the Lakers did win a championship, he played, at some point in that season, he played every position on the team.
Did. Good point. Good
Yeah.
point to pull that one out. Yeah.
And that's what a champion does.
Yeah. His rookie.
Go where you're needed.
Whatever's needed, exactly.
Oh. My number 2, and I'm going to go with a Olympic champion as well. Nice. Simone Biles. How about that?
I like it. I like it a lot, and I definitely agree. Definitely a champion. The only thing I don't care for on her resume is that last Olympics when and I get it, mental health is important.
Yes.
But remember, she kind of checked out and just said she couldn't do it mentally, but
Yeah.
probably has to be so much pressure that it's got to be tough.
100%.
But a champion.
and you
but a
don't
champion.
you don't know what else is going on. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I'm sure that we didn't get the whole story there, but to me that is part of it too. Is you got to be mentally tough.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going to throw stones. I mean, you're that high a level for that long of a time.
It's a
And
lot.
not only that high of a level, to just dominate too. Just like
Yeah.
Michael Phelps, like she just
Always
dominated.
winning.
Yeah.
Some of Simone's, her credits has 25 world championship medals, 7 Olympic medals, 4 of them gold. She's also the first American woman to win 7 national all-around titles. The first female gymnast to earn 3 consecutive world all-around titles. So she breaks records while winning all the championships.
Insane. And also, unlike a lot of the people we've mentioned so far, actually, like all of them, her resume is still growing.
Yeah, she's still competing.
Yep,
So
she's
she can
still
add
going,
to those,
yeah.
Add to those
Yep.
titles. Wow, good list so far, guys. Nice. With that, we'll jump back into the bottom half of the top 24 early 2024 quarterback rankings. Again, no rookies. We'll add that in another show.
Yeah, after the draft.
So some people move up, some people move in. Starting right off, then number 13, another quarterback that got hurt, and I haven't met 13. Who knows which way it's going to go? Justin Herbert. He's got a coach in there now that does not like to coach, and an offensive coordinator does not like to throw the ball. They'd rather run it. And Justin Herbert can throw the ball 5,000 yards every single season. He might not get a chance.
I like it. I like him as quarterback. And if you want a steal here,
Yeah.
I would definitely take him probably even a little bit early. I would consider having him as my primary starter.
I had him at 10.
Yeah.
And see, if you go back to, if you go back to his coach's previous tenure within the NFL, they did throw quite a bit.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
Being a former quarterback, he somehow turned Kaepernick into something functional.
He did.
And so I think with Herbert, he's going to have a field day, and I think they will throw a lot.
Hopefully they do. Play to the guy's strength. He's an animal.
So if I know anything about Jim Harbaugh, though, he's going to get in there and he's going to use him for a couple seasons, but get his quarterback in there. But he will use him to the best of his ability and push him to the best of his ability.
Right. Yeah. Regardless of if he wants somebody else in there or not, for right now, the next season or two, you can bet that Herbert's going to get his share of reps in there.
And let's not forget, there's going to be a little bump from that because Harbaugh's going to want to be flashy. He's going to want to he's going to want to hang points on people.
Yeah.
Hope so.
That's what Jim Harbaugh does.
The only thing holding them back, and we'll see how it plays out, Keenan Allen's super old. Mike Williams getting older and hurt all the time.
Right.
Their wide receiver core is they need some. They need some in the draft this year.
So that's a whole nother thing too, is Harbaugh brought a strength and conditioning guru with him.
Yeah.
And, the guy just has a great track record of getting people on track physically so that they're not injured.
Right.
And more durable. So I would have high hopes that he would do that in the pros as well.
Yeah, good call, Adam, for sure. That's going to make a difference, I think.
Yeah, I would think so, especially with some of those guys that have aged a little bit and are getting have been injured.
Squeeze the last little bit of years out of them, I guess, as you say, keeping Herbert for a couple more. And
yeah.
Clean house.
He's going to want to do that till he transitions to. When you've got a viable starting quarterback like that, you don't just throw him in the trash.
Right.
You get the quarterback you want either in the draft or through free agency or a trade.
Right.
And then you let him get a couple seasons under his belt, and then you move on.
There you go. Going right on to number 14, Brock Purdy. I'll flip over.
It's so hard to put a beat on Brock Purdy, man.
It is. He finished number 6 last year with 306 points on the year, 19.2 average. He did throw 4,280 yards, so he made the 4,000 club. 31 touchdowns. Wow. That's decent.
No, that's good. It's a good spot for Brock Purdy. I just don't trust him yet.
Right. Just because he's so young still.
Yeah.
Well, and he was Mr. Relevant. To me, one season, he's not proven.
Huh. That music just started out of nowhere.
I don't know what the heck that is.
Don't know.
Let's move on with the quarterbacks.
We sure will. Yeah, Brock Purdy at 14. 15, Kirk Cousins. It's, we don't know a lot about him. Is he going back to Minnesota?
Kirk O'Chains is not going to go back to Minnesota.
He'll go on somewhere.
You know where he's going to go?
Where?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Hot Atlanta.
That's my feeling.
Okay.
We'll see if it pans out. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm going to say he's going to go to Atlanta.
Would that move his stock up from 15?
No, it'd keep him right about at 15, but he's going to be a good 15. He could even move into right around 10 to 12.
Okay. So he's right there, right on the edge.
Yep.
I like it. Number 16, another polarizing guy because he has the offense. He has the head coach that drives that offense. Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua
finished 9 last year on the season.
I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. Love the guy. Love what he brings. Loves the stats and numbers he puts up. Wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Led the league
just
in passing.
Just because of that concussion history.
Right. Well, he got through a whole year of it, though.
That and,
I know you can't draft planning for injuries. You say this all the time.
Right.
But I still trust my intuition. I don't think he's going to have a good season.
You're not far off. He is one bad hit away from being done again for the season.
Well, and I just don't think that there's enough of a body of work there. That offense was electric for a majority of the season, but not all of it, and that could continue over to next year really, really easy.
But the same thing happened in the NFL that always happens in the NFL. Somebody comes out and they're innovative, and it works for anywhere between 4 to 12 weeks, and then all of a sudden they figure it out.
They catch on to it quickly.
Exactly. That's what the coaches do. All right, but that's a good spot for Tua. I agree.
He did lead the league in passing, though, with 46-24, so 4,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, so he almost hit that 30 touchdown mark.
I mean, if you, and this is what I would do, so I would draft him if I already had under my belt, like I did last year. In a Superflex league, I believe I already had Allen and I already had Jackson. I would take him then as my third guy if he was still there, just to...
In your Superflex, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just to stuff on my bench.
Because those big games are big.
They are, but it also is going to make you super angry if he's on your bench and he has one of those big games.
Yeah.
Play the matchup.
There you go.
Moving on quickly now to this guy, number 17 ranking. He only played 4 snaps this past season on a new team. Aaron A.A. Rodgers.
I had him at 21, and I'm afraid that at the age that he's at and at this point in his career, he doesn't have a whole lot left.
Not much.
You said it's 17?
Yeah.
I'd leave him at 17, but, TBD compared to some of the names that are about to come up, then we'll discuss it more. But for right now, everybody you've had before him should be before him, but we'll see as we move down the list.
I don't think he's going to have to do much in that offense. There's some talent around him. Breece Hall, we'll get into next week with running back rankings.
Right.
Shooting up the board. He is going to have a year next year.
He's a monster.
Receiver Garrett Wilson is awesome as can be. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for Garrett Wilson with bad quarterback play. So I don't know if Rodgers is going to have to do much, but again, the rankings are going to be based on how he does.
Just keep his Achilles intact is what he's going to have to do.
Yeah, and Adam said he's getting old. How much is he going to recover? How good is he going to recover?
Right. All right, who's next?
Moving on there, number 18, and he's fallen off quickly because of age, Matthew Stafford.
I like Stafford here. I've got no complaints. Stafford is a talent, generational talent.
Good offense.
Great offense, former number 1 overall pick. I like Stafford at 18.
Okay.
I'm good with him at 18. I think that's...
This is back end.
Yep.
So your super flex. Big games possible. Most games are just bleh. Just there. Number 19, Baker Mayfield, out of nowhere.
As things develop, I'm cool with him at 19 for right now. Mm-hmm. But if he hitches onto the right situation potentially, I would move him up to anywhere from 12 to 14.
Really?
Yeah.
That's way up there.
Baker Mayfield is a talented quarterback. Don't ever let anybody tell you differently.
Another former number 1.
Yep.
Finished number 10 last year on the season. So he's got it. I mean, Michael Evans is coming back.
So he has a great attitude. He has a great work ethic. He's just been put in terrible situations his entire career as far as everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And he has played to it for sure. He had that.
He took Tampa Bay to the playoffs this past season.
He had the midseason where he went from Carolina over to L.A. and started immediately.
Yep.
I don't remember if he won those, but nonetheless.
So don't sleep on Baker Mayfield as a quarterback.
There you go. That was 19. Number 20, Trevor Lawrence. Boy, he is falling fast. He is in my dynasty, and I am not comfortable with him at all.
No one's fallen from grace faster as an NFL quarterback in the past 3 seasons than Trevor Lawrence.
Well, he looks like the bad guy from a karate movie.
He really does.
He really does. Okay. Yeah.
He looks like a guy that if you got on the train and you saw him, you would think immediately he stinks, so I'm not going to go stand by him.
Is it the long hair?
Yeah, just everything.
Or he's got a bomb strapped to him. One of the two.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I've never even considered him in my draft prospects.
So all in all, nature is telling you to stay away from him. Fantasy football drafts advice is stay away from him.
And he had talent all around him, and just they could not put it together. Coached by a former winning quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback.
So most leagues I've been in, even Superflexes, he gets either drafted very low or not drafted. Then somebody picks him up as a flyer as a free agent.
Yep. Yeah, I'm struggling with him, as I said, in my dynasty. I don't know which way to go.
And now, hopefully, he proves us wrong. Maybe next year when we do this, we'll be like, Trevor Lawrence, number 4 going into the season. Last year, 4,800 yards.
There we go.
27 touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns.
He has been number 1 his whole entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him all the way through from high school.
Yeah.
And he was number 1 everywhere he went. He's got some chance, but we'll see if he puts together. Rolling on quickly to number 21, Derek Carr for the Saints.
I got nothing to say about this one.
Nothing special?
Sure.
Nothing great, nothing horrible.
He is the vanilla pudding pop of quarterbacks at this point.
Exactly.
He is. Good way to put it. We'll move on to him because there ain't nothing to talk about that. Number 22, Geno Smith. Ugh. Again.
Great point for Geno. Once we get younger quarterbacks in here and figure out the league, he's going to bump back to probably 30, 32.
I know, but there's so much around him again. Look at the talent at wide receiver around him.
It's going to be interesting, though. He's still with the Seahawks.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see what the new coaching regime does. So we'll put a pin in this.
Okay.
We'll have to wait to see a little bit more about this coaching staff and what they're going to do. I might even think about moving him up a click or two, honestly.
Okay.
He's had quite a resurgence.
He has.
Yeah.
The talent is there. He's not.
No, he's a talented quarterback, still a viable NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So
again, we're talking about the back end of your either your bench quarterback or your super flex.
Exactly. So all right.
Number 23, Will Levis. He's going to have a rookie last year from the Titans.
Much like a generic name, Will Levis, I know nothing about Will Levis. I know nothing.
Yes.
Nor would I ever think to look up Will Levis.
Right. His first game as a starter, he threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he came out of the gates on fire and did not throw 4 touchdowns in a game the rest of the season.
I know 10,000 times more about Will Ferrell than I do about Will Levis.
Right. All right, another fact for you. Apparently, he puts mayo in his coffee.
I've read that, though. I did read that.
All right, so that's
what kind of monster?
I don't know. Big dude. I mean, he's got the chance. We'll see what happens.
So I tuned out and watch him just come out and maybe just be a stud this season. You never know.
Got the arm talents there.
Yeah.
As I said, it's his second year. We'll see if he puts it together. When you had your running back was Derrick Henry, there was really no reason to throw him around.
And I mean, if you've got an arm and you're a big dude, 6'3" or above as an NFL quarterback, that's half the battle right there.
For sure. And last but not least, I barely put him on the list because, again, like my top 3, this guy is not a very nice guy. Deshaun Watson. I guess. Didn't want to play last year, but he was injured apparently. And the doctors cleared him to play, and he still didn't want to play.
So I'm going to sub out this clown for Joe Flacco.
Okay. There you go. So in your 24 spot would be Joe Flacco.
Right.
He wants to play, but I think he already got released.
I know.
From the Browns.
But Deshaun Watson has no desire to play. He just has the desire to go get massages.
Right. Well, he's going to have to play. They're paying him a bunch of money.
Right.
So he can't leave until they tell him.
So I'm good with those rankings as they sit for right now.
Okay. That is your top 24 early quarterback rankings for the 24 season upcoming. No rookies into that. That will be added later on. We'll see. Contact us through our socials and tell us if you have any additions or subtractions. And we'll see how that goes.
Who could we possibly have forgotten with that? I don't
think we forgot anybody.
Nope. Down there at the bottom end, it's slim pickings.
It really is.
So with that, we'll wrap that up and jump into our top 3. This is going to be number 1 on your top 3 greatest champions, all sports. Phil, for your 3, number 3, Jim Thorpe. Number 2, Michael Phelps. Your number 1 is?
My number 1 with a bullet. This was not a doubt. Since we already talked about I couldn't pick Michael Jordan. Muhammad Ali. Greatest champion of all time, Muhammad Ali. When you think about boxing, you think about Muhammad Ali.
You do.
Float like a butterfly. Tyson. Yep. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He won 56 of his 61 professional fights, 36 of them via knockout. Only 5 losses to his name, one of the most successful men to have ever graced the sport. He's a light heavyweight. He also won an Olympic gold medal, among many other career achievements. Muhammad Ali, champion of champions.
Yes, he is.
Muhammad Ali, my top champion for today for this list.
I put him up there as one of the OG champions for sure.
Yeah. So while we're still on mine topic here, some of my honorable mentions that I wheeled around: Wayne Gretzky, Babe Ruth, Usain Bolt.
There you go.
And now we're moving on. All right, Adam, who's your champion?
Adam real quick for you. Number 3, Adam had Joe Montana. Number 2, Magic Johnson. And you're number 1.
So I was going to go with Reggie Jackson. He's one of my honorable mentions, and I kind of switched this up. Phil kind of inspired me with that, with some of his choices. But Cal Sanderson, who I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but he is the head wrestling coach at Penn State.
Okay.
One of the most successful wrestlers ever to wrestle. In college, in the NCAA, he was a 4-time national champion. The only wrestler to ever go undefeated. He was 159-0 as a collegiate wrestler.
Wow.
Amazing.
In college, 159-0.
159-0 in college.
Never lost a match.
In college.
Never lost a match. Never really had anybody really challenge him. He is the only freshman wrestler to ever win the Outstanding Wrestler for the NCAA. He's an Olympic gold medalist, several-time world champion, and he has jumped in at Penn State coaching. And since 2006, since taking over, his worst national ranking is 9th.
Wow, still a top 10 on his worst day.
He's going on since 2006. He's going on his this year will probably likely be his 12th national championship.
Wow.
Since 2006.
So I agree. He's for a gentleman I have not heard of. Well, I've heard the name before, but wasn't familiar with until now. He's a champion of champions. Yes.
Yeah, great pull on that one.
Yeah.
Somebody out of nowhere.
His career coaching record at Penn State is 235 wins, 26 losses, and 2 draws.
Wow.
Dang, that's impressive.
What percentage is that?
That is 89.7, so 90% winning percentage in what is absolutely by far the toughest league in the nation.
All he does is win, man.
All he does is win.
So at every level, and so many guys that he's coached have gone on to have international success.
Right.
Just absolutely amazing. So if you just really want the consummate winner, somebody who's won at absolutely every level. He's a high school state champion, a 4-time NCAA champion, and then as a coach in the NCAA, he has just absolutely been dominant. There's nobody that's been that dominant.
Good pull on that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Facts. We're going to get some facts, stat facts. So for me, my number 1, I start off with number 3, Tiger Woods, number 2, Simone Biles. My number 1, the greatest champion in NBA basketball history, Bill Russell. 11-time NBA champ, 11 rings.
No, I agree. Bill Russell's right there for me, too.
Yeah.
Of course, let's put the caveat out there. For all 3 of us, our champion of champions was actually Michael Jordan, but we wanted to mix things up and give you more content.
Thank you.
Bill Russell, I love it. Love it. What a champion. 11-time NBA champion.
Yeah, 12-time All-Star. So he had almost as many championships as he had All-Star appearances. 4-time TRB champ. Look that one up. 11-time champion, 11-time All-Star. NBA All-Star. 5-time MVP of the All-Star. All-Defense. NBA 75th anniversary team. Just everything. Wow.
Bill Russell dominated.
Yeah.
So Bill Russell went up against Wilt Chamberlain, and it's legendary that Bill Russell was actually quoted as saying, "Yeah, I felt bad for Wilt, so I let him win a championship."
There you go. Otherwise, we'd had a dozen.
Right.
Woo. Yeah, nobody more dominant than that, especially in that era. I mean, that's something special. 11 championships.
Bill Russell won at every single level, once again, just like Magic Johnson. Legendary. Probably has to go into the argument for, if you're making the list for greatest players ever in the NBA, He's got to be in everybody's top 5, if not top 3 easily. If not, you're crazy.
Yeah, most of your NBA stars, especially the big guys, will tell you that Bill Russell is the end-all, be-all.
Yep.
Hey, nice job, guys.
Hey, there we go. We made it through.
Made it through.
I like these list-oriented things. These are fun.
Oh, yes.
It's good debate, especially as we're sitting here and just having a good time and recording. Hopefully it's been interesting for people. I don't know.
That's, again, episode 1. Yeah, thank you guys for being on here with me. The new venture.
Absolutely.
We can go with this. Some fantasy football year-round. We'll get into some basketball whenever we can. And we'll touch on all sports.
We'll throw some baseball in there.
And as we've talked about even this one with our list, this is fantasy football is going to be the primary, but all sports. We're going to touch and talk about all sports.
Yes.
Looking for us next week. We'll do the early top 24 running backs for the upcoming season. As I put that list together, we'll see how that goes. Lots of changes there, too, because of free agency and all those running backs getting older. We shall see.
I like it. I can't wait for that one.
You got to catch everybody on the socials. Facebook is going to be the Fantasy Wizard. Twitter X, also Fantasy Wizard. YouTube, when we throw something up there, is the Fantasy Wizard. The different one will be Instagram, the Fantasy Sports Wizard. All that will be found under thefantasywizard.com. Phil, Adam, I'm Mike. Thank you for joining us on the Fantasy Wizard Sports Show. Have a good night, everyone. Make good choices.